Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. So today I am larger than usual here, but I just wanted to kind of talk about creativity in Warhammer 40k and in Age of Sigmar. So I feel in the recent years, like in Warhammer 40k, it's more in reference to kind of Space Marine chapters, but it's in general for the hobby on as a whole, and it's really kind of happened in AOS slightly, but not as much. Where when I first started playing in 3rd edition, like obviously people were playing Blood Angels, Ultramarines, the Black Legion, like the main groupings, and then back then it was Old World, and it was kind of like like you have the Tomb Kings, and you would had your different leaders, and then you would paint your army according to that kind of thing, right? Like if you were Nefertari, whatever you were doing, right? And in recent years, there's been a push really in 40k where you're pretty much only playing the main chapters, right? You can choose to play, like if you're not doing Blood Angels, Flesh Tears, like there's a couple ones that stand out, like Black Templars, for instance, where they were not the main chapter, right? They're like one of the ones that was created in the 2nd founding, 3rd founding. But the rules in general have gone to a place where it used to be kind of you make your own chapter, right? And you can still do that to an extent, right? There's still rules for doing that sort of thing. But it was more encouraged before, I think, where it was really like, hey, like pick some colors, like come up with your own chapter, your own home world, like they've done with the Tome Keepers recently in the White Dwarves, where they've really shown off like being creative again, right? Make your own chapter, make your own story. And I did that a lot as a kid. I came up with dozens of chapters. It was just, I really liked doing that, right? And I feel like people don't do that as much anymore. People are more like you're choosing a chapter, or you're choosing, like, even for the Cruel Boys, one of the main groupings kind of thing out of the book, and then you paint them that way because you want to use those rules. You're interested in that part of the lore, right? Which again, that's fine. But I want to kind of veer off, and I'm going to start a couple projects in the vein where I'm like, let's get creative again. Let's come up with custom ideas. Let's really go out there and try and be creative within the universe of AOS and the universe of 40k. Like choose a section of space, make up the planets in that system, right? Make up the chapter homeworld. Then from there, create the aesthetic of the chapter, or for Eldar, make your craft world and create a full backstory going back all the way to the beginning, right? Like I feel like that's an aspect that people kind of have lost, where there's just so much stuff being thrown at you, where it's just taking in all of the books and the lore constantly, where sitting down and writing your own, not as many people are doing anymore. And within AOS especially, like when they're focusing on the different realms, and right now we're in the realm of the beasts, right? We're focusing on Kragnos escaping. I've got an idea for AOS that I'm going to make a supplementary video for, about creating my own kind of chaos like host, and within that creating maps and doing a bunch of things. I'm going to explain that in this supplementary video, but I want to hopefully inspire some people to kind of do the same, where instead of just going at it and painting, blank. And a lot of the times, again, like the thing that draws you to like the Death Guard, or like Emperor's Children, or Slanesh in general, or Zeech, are the colors, right? We're like, hey, blue and gold, right? And I'm not saying that that's not being creative, or you're coming up with your own kind of hues for those chaos gods, but you can still kind of break out, where I read an article that had to do with world eaters, and then having custom chapters and having explanations, where they had a warband that was all brass, and they were like, well, the blood is being absorbed by their armor and being funneled into the realm of Khorne. Like that, I'm like, wow, that's so cool, right? Where it's those one-off ideas and concepts that work really well in 40k, that I feel like when I'm setting up against people now, it's really just like, this is Iron Hands, you're facing Iron Hands, right? And it's like, well, what's the leader of your chapter, right? Like, do you have a captain that you've named? No, this is like, what are you talking about, right? And you just play the game, right? Where people kind of have disconnected from that part of the hobby. So let me know in the comments if this video you're like, I too have not been really coming up with my own kind of ideas within those universes. And if it hopefully is going to inspire you to do the same. And again, follow along. I'm going to be making a lot of videos about the idea I've come up with. I'm going to be starting with my AOS kind of concept and running with that. And then I'm going to be moving into my 40K idea. And then moving along with that as well, and I'm going to paint some projects and actually go into them just to show people like, hey, you don't have to run with the pack. And especially when you're getting started, like my first army was Ultramarines, literally because when I went into the store to do a demo paint, I painted an Ultramarine. The art on the box that I bought was Ultramarines, and the starter paint pack was Ultramarines, right? I'm 9, right? Like, I don't know. And I just kind of like started reading about the lore, about all the chapters. I'm like, wow, these are all really cool. But I like Marinus Calgar. I kind of like the Ultramarines, right? And I honestly like them more now, where I could go back and do like conversions and do a small little strike force or something of them just to paint up for fun. But that's the other thing. The army that I'm going to be doing for AOS is not for play. I may end up using them to fight people someday, but I'm basically doing this as a build and paint project, not as a competitive, because I'm going to be doing conversions. I'm going to be doing a lot of crazy stuff that is completely unusable in the game, and that like at a tournament I would not be able to use these models, but I don't care, doing it for fun. Again, let me know in the comments if you have some ideas that you're kind of rattling around where you might start working on stuff yourself, or if you are new to the hobby and you never even thought about this, right? Like, even grabbing your codex, you're like, I like the Blood Angels chapter. Again, I use them as a reference a lot, but like the flesh tears are so different and more kind of cornate and more aggressive, right? Where the Blood Angels are, but they're turned up to 100, where you take that idea where you're like, no, I want to be Traitor Blood Angels, right? Like just having a concept and rolling with it, and then building some models and painting some stuff to go along with your idea, right? If you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a bunch of videos coming out about being creative within the Warhammer universe. So please watch along. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you all in the next video.